Death and Dementia video 23. So, good news, the Jubilee finally saved the day. And so, I have to still put it on my phone. My brother has it on his phone. And for the first time, mom called him and said that the TV's broke again. And if you guys are dealing with aging parents or whatever, you probably got this call and I can't figure it out, and TV's broken again. I can't watch anything, and all that stuff too. He got on his phone on the Jubilee app and said, "What are you going to watch?" And as he was going through channels, she's watching him go through channels, and they picked a show together, and it worked out just like they said. The only hiccup we've been having, which I'm sure is user error, is the sound on the video call, but we'll figure that out. But one of the few things in life that is actually doing what they said it would do. So good for Jubilee. It's on my link if you want to look at that. An update on mom and dad, how they're doing. And, it's not going to be good news ever because it just keeps going down from here, unfortunately. But where mom is now, she's in the same apartment, which is second floor of this facility. Dad has a temporary apartment separate from mom, but because there's no apartments in memory care available, we're on the waiting list for the first one. And so early in the morning, they bring him over to memory care. He spends the entire day there. And then when he's ready to go to bed at night, they bring him back to his apartment. So there's really no interaction between mom and dad unless staff is there. And he still goes through little angry spells and things like that. Memory care, they have, if you're not too familiar with it, it's a secure facility. So because people at that stage tend to wander, and they have more staff because they need more staff members because all these people need more care. Some of them need to be walked around. Dad really doesn't. There's need to be guided everywhere. And then so a lot of them will get upset at pretty much nothing. That's just part of this shitty disease. And so mom called, and her decline is still speeding along, and she was insistent that dad was at breakfast on the assisted living side where she lives, and she wasn't allowed to talk to him and everything like that. And I figured it was probably just in her head. And I'm slowly figuring things out. Like I said, you have people that I've known I can trust my whole life, and then just dementia puts something in their head, and to them it's real. And if you've ever dealt with anyone who's got any kind of cognitive issues or mental problems, or even somebody who's been, like when I went through my back surgery, I was on some really strong pain pills and stuff like that, and it does weird, shitty things to your brain. And you can't convince the person that they're not seeing this or hearing this or whatever. It's real to them. And so mom was pissed because she couldn't sit with dad, and made a couple calls, and it was not dad, and it was just either she just saw him there for some reason in her head, or it was someone that maybe looked similar to dad. And then we kind of get into, I mentioned before, you have a lot of well-intended people who perhaps just maybe need to shut the fuck up sometimes. And I'm obviously not going to go around and tell them that, but and they're trying to do the right thing. And I did bring this up before. In this facility, a lot of the people walking around, even on the assisted living side, have dementia, so they really don't get what they're saying. It's kind of like me. There's no freaking filter in what they say. And so somebody told mom the other day that dad was wandering the halls looking for her, and we're not really sure. We know he got angry a few times before we separated them, which is why we separated them. And we're not really sure how often it was happening, but often enough to once in a while she kind of freaks out about it. And most of the time, she is great with him when she goes to visit him. And a lot of the times, she doesn't even remember him ever being angry. But just once in a while, it pops up. And it pops up usually because someone brings something up. And, the other day, somebody said, hey, he's, wandering the halls looking for you. And that person, that story was in their head because they have a camera in memory care, and he was on the camera the whole time in a separate part of the building. It didn't happen. Then it gets into mom's brain, who also has dementia, and it's just like a sick fucking game where just nonsense comes in from one area, and then they create a little bit more nonsense with it, pass it on to the next person, and then their brain just creates some other. And before you know it, nothing actually happened, but it's chaos and the sky is falling, and it's a fucking mess. So those are the kind of fires that you're continually trying to put out going through this sort of thing. And Familiar Surroundings has still been doing the walks 3 times a week for mom and dad. And I get a call after each walk, and mom is absolutely glowing about it. So I'll put Familiar Surroundings website up again on this. The staff will show up, and at this point today, they actually end up having breakfast with mom and dad too. After the walks are done, if they still have time, we just want them to kind of hang out and be friends with mom and dad. And they're doing perfect. They're absolutely doing perfect. It takes a lot of stress and pressure off of me and off of my brother and off a friend of ours who's helping us out, and off the staff too. And yeah, it does cost us a bit out of pocket, but the whole idea of everything that we're doing for them is to try to make them comfortable, try to give them a little bit of happiness in whatever life that they have left. And so that's kind of what our daily goals are. So thank you again, Familiar Surroundings. You guys are doing an outstanding job. I'll update more in a couple days. Until then, God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America. Thanks for watching. I'm hoping these videos are going to help somebody out there. Please look at the attachments to the videos. I've attached just the websites to some of the people who I speak to, and I've also attached my Amazon Associates links to some of the products that we've used for mom and dad, and some other things that look like they would be helpful for people in similar situations. God bless.